Today, we're cracking open the hidden blueprint for wealth. You know, that fundamental mindset gap that really explains, well, pretty much everything. And it all starts right between your ears. Okay, let's dive in.
Okay, picture this. You've got two people, same job, same pay, maybe even live in the same neighborhood. Now, let's fast forward 10 years. One of them, they're financially secure, building some real wealth. The other? Well, they're still stuck living paycheck to paycheck, just struggling to get by. So what happened? What was the one thing that created two totally different results?
Well, the answer isn't just about getting lucky, and it's not even just about working harder. I mean, don't get me wrong, hard work is absolutely part of it, but it's not the whole story. The real, fundamental difference, the game changer, is mindset. It's all about the beliefs and the attitudes you have about money. That's what really shapes your financial future.
And you know, breaking down these big, complex ideas into something simple, that is exactly what we do here. So if you're ready to really get a handle on money, make sure you hit that subscribe button for Finance Talk. You are not going to want to miss what's coming next.
All right, so let's get into the first major area where these mindsets really split apart. It all comes down to your time horizon. Are you just thinking about today, or are you building something for tomorrow? So the first key is all about long-term thinking. See, one mindset is just trapped by this month's paycheck, right? Just focused on surviving. But the other mindset, it frames every single money decision with an eye on the future. They're constantly asking themselves, how is this going to help me in 5, 10, or even 20 years? And that kind of future focus leads right into our second key, creating value over time. See, most of us are taught to trade our time for money, right? An hour of work gets you an hour of pay. But the rich mindset, it's all about creating systems or assets that generate value and income, even when you're sleeping. It's literally the difference between running on a hamster wheel and actually building the machine that runs itself. And this brings us to the third key, and honestly, this one is a true financial superpower, delayed gratification. It's that simple choice to say no to the shiny new gadget or the fancy dinner today so you can invest that money for a way bigger reward tomorrow. It's all about consciously trading a small, instant pleasure for a massive long-term win. Okay, that leads us right into part 2. Thinking differently is where it starts, but the next step is building differently. We're talking about creating systems, financial machines that actually work for you. The next key mindset is all about ownership. And what's super interesting here is this little 2-step process. See, most people get stuck at step 1. They're the employee working for money. The crucial leap, the real game changer, is getting to step 2, becoming the owner. That's where you build and own the systems that generate money for you. We're talking about owning a business, real estate, a stock portfolio, assets that are out there working for you. I mean, you can't win a game if you don't even know the rules, right? That's why this next key, financial literacy, is so important. One mindset tends to avoid the topic of money altogether. It just feels confusing or maybe even scary. But a rich mindset, they see learning as power. They actively study how investing works, what assets are, and the big economic forces that make money move around the world. So, is this starting to click for you? If these ideas are opening your mind a bit, just take a second and hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more insights from Finance Talk coming right up. And all that financial knowledge starts to reveal another huge key, building multiple income streams. Think about it. Relying on just one paycheck is like trying to balance on a one-legged stool. It's super unstable. A wealth-building mindset is all about creating several different streams of revenue. Things like investing, a side business, royalties, other assets, to build a really solid, stable financial foundation. And where do those income streams often come from? Well, that brings us to the next key, problem solving. Here's a simple but really profound truth. Money is just a byproduct of solving problems. A poor mindset sees a problem and thinks, an obstacle, I need to avoid that. A rich mindset sees that same problem and thinks, aha, an opportunity. Because the bigger the problem you can solve for people, the more value you create, and the more money naturally flows your way. Okay, this brings us to our final and maybe the most important section of all. Because look, you can have all the right strategies in the world, but the final battle for wealth, it's fought right inside your own head. It's all about mastering your own psychology. And that starts with understanding calculated risk. There is a huge difference between just risk and calculated risk. See, if you avoid all risk, you're pretty much avoiding all significant growth. The wealthy aren't out there just gambling blindly. No, they educate themselves. They understand the potential upsides and the downsides, and then they take smart, intelligent risks that can seriously multiply the results. And that whole education piece is part of our next key, self-investment. You've probably heard this before, but it's a classic for a reason. Your single greatest asset is you. Seriously, investing in your skills, your knowledge, your health, your network, that stuff provides returns that no stock market can ever guarantee. The more capable you become, the more value you can bring to the world. And finally, we have the last key, which is really the master skill, emotional control. The financial markets are driven by two incredibly powerful emotions, fear and greed. One mindset gets totally swept up in the panic or the hype, buying high when everyone's excited, selling low when everyone's scared. But a rich mindset, it operates on pure logic and discipline. They have a plan and they stick to that plan, making rational decisions that aren't swayed by all the emotional noise. So now that we've gone through all these different mindsets, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all boil down to? It's about building a brand new blueprint for your financial life. And that blueprint starts with your thoughts. This is really the heart of it all. The difference between struggling with money and succeeding with money, it really begins in your mind. Your mindset is the cause. It's what dictates the actions you take or the actions you don't take. And it's those small daily actions, compounded over years, that create the financial reality you live in. So, I'll leave you with this one question. Which of these mindsets are you going to start working on today? To keep this journey going, make sure you're subscribed to Finance Talk. Because here's the powerful truth. Once you change your mindset, you really can change your entire financial life. Thanks for being here.